Today, I'll guide you through the process of setting up Blockdaemon's LayerZero Oracle with your LayerZero version 2 application. Blockdaemon has built a tool allowing for the easy setup of the Blockdaemon Oracle for your Omnichain app. You can access this from GitHub, which is available to you in the video description box below. You can test this tool using the testnet chains, which are shown on screen, as well as a mainnet oracle. For mainnet oracle, Blockdaemon supports as many contracts on blockchain networks that our native API supports, as we'll be using the Blockdaemon API to broadcast the transaction needed to change oracles. I've already gone ahead and downloaded this tool and added it to a text editor, in this case VS Code. Reading through the README file, we will follow the steps needed to switch to Blockdaemon's oracle. Step 1. Installing Node 21.5.0 using NVM, Node Version Manager. The first step is to ensure that you have NVM installed. NVM allows you to easily manage multiple versions of Node.js. Ensure that you install Node version 21.5.0. It's essential to use this specific version to ensure compatibility with the Blockdaemon LayerZero Oracle setup. Step 2. Installing dependencies with NPM. With the correct version of Node.js installed, the next step is to install the necessary dependencies for your project. In your command line, navigate to your project's root directory. Then run the command npm install. This command will download and install all the dependencies listed in the project's package.json file. Step 3. Configure a .env file. The next critical step in setting up Blockdaemon's LayerZero Oracle is configuring a .env file. This file will store important environment variables that your application needs to run properly. In your project's root directory, you can create a new file and name it .env. However, you can use the provided .env.example as a template, which is pre-populated with the variables you'll need to adjust. Copy the environment variables with cp.env.examples.env. The .env file is where you'll store sensitive information such as an API key and private keys, so it's important to ensure this file is never shared or included in public repositories. Next, we'll need to configure the .env file. Open the .env file in your code editor. As you can see, I have a .env file open in VS Code for the purposes of this demonstration as seen on screen. You need to add the following variables. Blockdaemon API key. Enter your Blockdaemon API key here. You can get an API key at app.blockdaemon.com and you'll be able to submit your transaction to change the oracle using the Blockdaemon API. Network. Here, enter the network you are operating on. Ensure that you select from the supported networks as outlined in the documentation. Correctly setting this variable is important for your application to communicate effectively with the intended blockchain network. Because we're using the Girly testnet for our application, we'll be using this network. Source chain endpoint ID. Here, you'll assign the endpoint ID corresponding to your application's source blockchain. For instance, if your application is operating on the Ethereum Girly testnet, you would set the variable to the one shown on screen, which is the specific identifier for this network in LayerZero's ecosystem. You can find a list of these endpoint IDs in the LayerZero documentation. Mnemonic. Add the private seed phrase that you will use for signing the transaction to change your oracle. In this case, I'll be using the private seed phrase for a MetaMask account set up with the Girly testnet, which has some testnet ETH on it to pay for transaction fees. This mnemonic should be kept confidential and secure. You can enter the words of your mnemonic one after the other. OApp address. Next, specify the address of your LayerZero version 2 application, commonly referred to as OApp, which is an Omnichain application, one that is designed to operate across multiple blockchain networks. This address is crucial for identifying your application within the blockchain network. Please note that within your application, you must first grant permission for the public key corresponding to your mnemonic listed in your .env file to change the oracle. Next, the message lib address specifies the address of the smart contract that handles message encoding and decoding. This address varies based on the network and the version of the message library you are using. In the .env file, input the address of the message library corresponding to your target network. For instance, if you are working with the Ethereum Girly testnet, you would use the address for the Girly version of the LayerZero message library. The correct addresses for each network's message library can be found in the LayerZero documentation. The next step is to configure the target chain endpoint ID. Here, input the endpoint ID corresponding to the blockchain network you intend to interact with. For example, if you want your application to communicate with the Polygon Mumbai testnet, set the number that you would see on screen. The correct endpoint ID ensures that your application's requests are directed to the appropriate blockchain network. You can find the necessary endpoint IDs in the LayerZero documentation. Please note that you do not need to modify the RPC data found in the file. Next, you need to run the script which changes the oracle to Blockdaemon's oracle. To run the script, first save the changes to your .env file in your text editor. To run the command, you'll use TypeScript node, commonly referred to as ts-node. Open your command line interface and ensure you are in your project's root directory. Here you'll execute the command ts-node main.ts. This command starts the main TypeScript file of your application, which contains the logic for configuring and connecting to the LayerZero Oracle. Once you run ts-node main.ts, several processes kick off. The script first validates all the environment variables you've set up in your .env file. It then establishes a connection with Blockdaemon's LayerZero Oracle using the details provided. The script performs the necessary configurations and setups as per your instructions in the code. You will see various outputs on your command line, indicating the progress and completion of each step. It's crucial to monitor these outputs for any error messages or confirmations of successful execution. These messages provide insights into the script's interaction with the blockchain and LayerZero Oracle. At the end of the setup, you will see Blockdaemon's Oracle listed at the updated Oracle address in your terminal window. We can see some testnet Girly ETH has been used to pay for the transaction costs. Upon successful completion of the script, your application is now fully configured and connected to the Blockdaemon Oracle. You will see this reflected in the command line. This means it is ready to engage in cross-chain communications, leveraging Blockdaemon's LayerZero Oracle infrastructure.